When it comes to managing risks in the workplace, everyone has an obligation and responsibility to ensure their own safety and the safety of those around them. Every work area or task poses a potential risk to personnel, property, or the environment. These risks are heightened if inexperienced personnel are to perform the task or when there is a change in work practices or environmental conditions. Managing these risks is the foundation of all safety and health management systems and can make the difference between completing a task safely or not. What is risk assessment? Put simply, risk assessment means looking at each specific task and determining the safest and best way to complete it. Risk management is everybody's responsibility. One of the tools at our disposal in risk management is a Take 5. A Take 5 is a personal risk assessment tool used to assist us in maintaining awareness of our environment at all times and aid in the identification and control of immediate hazards as we go about our day-to-day work. Take 5. The Take 5 risk assessment process is a simple and effective way to increase safety awareness and reduce risk of incident. A Take 5 risk assessment involves giving a rating of the level of risk associated with an event, then putting in place controls to help remove or reduce the risk to an acceptable level. The level of risk associated with an event can be established by assessing the chance of the event happening, likelihood, and the potential harm or damage the event could cause, consequences. Step 1. Before beginning a task, stop and engage the brain before you act. Stop and complete a Take 5 before starting any task and during the task when there is a change in conditions, e.g., it starts to rain. The Take 5 Has-Ob booklet helps you identify risks to yourself, your workmates, equipment, or property and the environment. You can perform a Take 5 in a group, but everyone should record the controls in their own books. The first section is easy. Write down your name, the location and task, and the current date. Step 2. Think through the task step by step. These 6 questions help identify any relevant permits, procedures, or training that must be in place or compiled with before commencing the task. Work through the questions and tick the relevant boxes. A tick in a bold box highlights a potential hazard that must be addressed before proceeding with the task. Is there a procedure for this task? If a suitable procedure exists for this task, tick yes. If the task is done regularly or if you believe a procedure or JSEA should be done, then tick no. Otherwise, tick NA. Is there a change to current process, procedure or design? If you change the way the task is to be done, it is important to identify if there have been any new hazards introduced. A change management process may be required. Do I require a permit? Some types of work are legislated as high risk and require additional controls and authorization. These tasks can have their own separate permit processes. Some examples include hot work, work at heights, confined space, excavation, lifting, hazardous substances, working near road or rail, working near water. Ask your supervisor about the requirements for any high-risk work you might have to do. Am I trained, competent and authorized for this task? You must be trained and authorized to perform certain tasks. This may include electrical or mechanical work and operating some mobile or fixed equipment. Do I have the correct PPE and equipment for the task? Check your PPE and equipment to make sure it is fit for the task and safe for use. Ask yourself if there are additional safety items required to perform the task. Examples include, but are not limited to, breathing apparatus, hearing protection, life preserver, hat, sunscreen, and extra water. Do you have a clear plan in mind? Have you thought through the task in detail? Do you have a clear idea of what is required? If you are unsure of anything, ask for clarification. What do the bold boxes mean? As you work through the questions, you will notice some of the boxes are bolder. If you ticked a bold box in this area, you must contact your supervisor. Do not proceed with the task until the question has been addressed. Step 3. Identify and document potential hazards. This step involves spotting any potential hazards in your work area. These questions help you to identify any hazards that can pose a risk to yourself, others, property, or the environment. If you do not tick any bold boxes, then it is safe to proceed with the task. Ticking a bold box identifies a potential hazard. Step 4. Plan and implement controls to eliminate or reduce risks before you proceed with your task. On the other side of the page, there is a section for describing the hazard and listing the controls to be used to minimize the risk. Fill this section out when you have ticked a bold box and identified a hazard. Describe the hazard or hazards. Be concise and clear. Work out a risk rating for each hazard without controls. Write down this ranking. Repeat this process again using the controls you plan to implement. Work out the risk rating for each hazard with controls. Write down this ranking. Use the hierarchy of controls to choose the best method. Some types of controls are more effective than others. If you cannot eliminate a hazard, most effective, then you can always combine controls to lower the risk of an incident happening. Using the risk matrix included in your Take 5 book, rate the risk according to the likelihood of an incident occurring and the consequences should the incident occur. In order to assess whether your controls will work effectively, measure the hazard's risk rating both with and without controls. Working out a risk rating score. Choose how severe the hazard consequence will be. E.g., if the hazard has the potential to kill you or others, then it is major. Then decide how likely it is that the consequence could occur. The number where your two values meet is your risk rating score. Do the controls make new hazards? Check to see if your control measures have created any new hazards. For example, using water to keep dust down could create slip hazards. Bringing in some portable lights could make a trip hazard with the cords. Wearing full welding PPE could cause dehydration or heat stroke. If by implementing your controls, you lower the risk rating score to 3 or below, you may proceed with the task. What if you can't control the hazard? If the score is over 3, then contact your supervisor before starting the task. Together, you might be able to create a solution to do the task more safely. If by implementing your controls, you lower the risk rating score to 3 or below, you may proceed with the task. Step 5. As you go about your work, continue to monitor the effectiveness of those controls and look for any changes to the task or work area. A change could introduce hazards, so another Take 5 may need to be done, e.g., the HazOb page is a tool for you to observe and report the following: hazards or near misses, unsafe behaviour, safe behaviour. Fill in the form, then tear off a top copy and give it to your supervisor. Looking for Take 5 books? The Take 5 book from Pertrain has been designed to assist you to complete the Take 5 process. It's a handy, easy-to-use personal risk assessment tool that fits right in your pocket. Click the Buy Now buttons to order your Take 5 books online. The good people at Pertrain will have your products printed, packed, and posted to you post-haste. For more safety and training solutions, visit pertrain.com.au.